residents. My name is Vic Muniz, and I'm running for asking for your vote on November 4th. As for myself, I'll swim no bull, as you've seen some of my campaign signs. I'm a native Californian. I was born in East Los Angeles. I shined shears and sold newspapers on the corner of Whittier and Reno. And as a young boy, I learned what the value of a buck meant. I have lived in Rancho Cucamonga for 24 years. My whole family grew up here, and I brought up my children here. They all went to school at the schools here. I graduated in '63 from St. John Bosco in Bellflower, and in '73 from Cal State Los Angeles, earning degrees in social sciences and also in international development. In 1965, I joined the United States Marine Corps, and I served until 1978. I also served with the Airmen, I served with artillery, and I served with recon. Since 1973, I've spent the majority of my 40-year career in the geotechnical and heavy industrial construction fields, plus public service and also in education. My work involved the siting of nuclear generating facilities, building refineries, petrochemical plants, and mining plants as well. And I've also matriculated in the field of safety and health and in the environmental disciplines. Most importantly, during my career, I was involved in estimating, budgeting, cost control, and scheduling of major multi-million-dollar projects. As Deputy Chief of Cal Ocean, responsible for all enforcement activities, I turned into Governor Evasion the entire budget for the Department of Industrial Relations, which included all labor departments. So I'm no novice to budgeting, and I am also currently licensed in the field of engineering, construction. I am board certified by the American Board of Industrial Hygiene and Board of Certified Safety Professionals. I have teaching credentials in the field of safety and health and also in the environment. I guess that's it.
Our first question, we'll start with Mr. Muniz. Sir, can the City Council effectively negotiate a fair and arm's-length contract with the public employee unions, considering that these unions have been among the largest contributors to City Council and mayoral candidates?
Well, the short answer to that is no. But let me start by saying this. I am a proud Democrat. I believe in the workers having the right to unionize and to organize. I believe that workers have the right to collective bargain for their pay and for their benefits, and also that workers have a right to a pension so they can retire with dignity. Because let's face it, Social Security by itself is never going to cut it. But having said that, basically what we're talking about are public safety unions. We're talking about fire and county sheriffs. At one point in the life of these unions, they decided that they wanted to be more than just advocates for the workers, but they decided they wanted to be political players in a local political system. So they have contributed heavily to a lot of candidates. They have contributed heavily to a lot of candidates for city council and mayor and also the county. Can you say that they can sit down and negotiate in good faith with city council? I would like to think so. But I'm also not naive enough to believe that that's going to happen. And there's a way around this. It's not just bringing this up every 2 years when there's an election cycle. We can change this and limit the effect that certain unions have and developers and other special interests have in our city by putting campaign limits. If you limit the amount of people get from a certain group, you will limit their political influence. Thank you.
Mr. Hamlin, would you like me to repeat the question? Or?
No, thank you.
Mr. Hamlin.
The word fair befuddles me a lot. What is fair to one might not be fair to another. The facts of history have already addressed this subject. If the member of the city council benefit from negotiations, then it would be logical to say no, and it wouldn't be fair. The case in point is the firemen's union, who contributes large sums of money to each election, and they wish a raise, and it affects the retirement of the seated council members. Then the council members get a raise, as they have every year, in good times and bad. We end up with 22 fire chiefs and only 7 firehouses. Is this fair? But at the same time, if those who formed a union out of fear of the top-heavy management raises for 4+ years, then the city council can certainly hold on that at arm's length. Again, the facts of history have already spoken to this subject. Is this fair? Thank you.
Mr. Alexander.
Wow, I tend to agree with a little bit and disagree with some also. You know, the question being, can the largest contributors to the council mayoral candidates, can we separate ourselves from any contributions in making decisions? Well, let me tell you, if we can't, we don't deserve to be on city council. It's really not sometimes the employee's fault that they receive wages and benefits that are excessive. It's people who vote, and I don't mind telling you, when this came up during the last budget session, I voted no. It still came up and passed, but I voted no. And you know what? I didn't get a lot of criticism from people that were organized in unions. Actually, the reality is some of them understand that wages have gone sky high, and there was a degree of respect. We have to learn to say no. We're the governing body representing you. The tail doesn't wag the dog. The buck stops right here. But I want to go a little bit further. I hope you don't mind. You can stop me if you want. This whole issue of money in the city goes much farther than public safety. There are several positions that receive excessively high pay and benefits, and that really needs to be curtailed. There's no doubt about that. But I'm going to tell you right now, we've got a lot of people that are sitting at the top of this particular organization who have all the benefits, that have all the access to a job that has security beyond most people in the private sector, and yet we're paying out $250,000, $275,000, $300,000, $325,000, and more in compensation and benefits, and that's wrong. We can't continue to do that. There's going to be a reason sometimes why public safety is expensive, particularly at the worker level, because quite honestly, overtime is demanded, and you can't hire extra employees. It's not cost effective. Sometimes overtime is just necessary. But what we have forgotten is the biggest part of what is going to bring this community back, and that's the worker bees that are being relegated to the bottom, volunteers that are being relegated to the bottom. We've taken away a lot of the benefits from people who receive little or no compensation and who work part-time, and what do? We reduce them even more, and that is wrong. The city owes something to the workers of this community, and we're going to have to curtail a lot of the effective pay raises to the very highest, and that's coming soon. Thank you.
Mrs. Williams?
First of all, City Council does not negotiate with labor organizations. That's done with a negotiator. And yes, they are given parameters to work within. The City Council does set the budget and does look at how much we feel we can or cannot, use for employees. We are, by the way, one of the few cities that is totally funded for our pensions. We have no unfunded pensions. All new employees pay their own pensions. We've changed the structure of, we've changed the structure of how people pay for their pensions and their medical care. I know that we've taken great pains to be fair and equitable in the city's employees. I believe we have the greatest staff in any city. Our city staff are to be commended for their efforts during this past bad recession to sit back, and yes, they did. Some of them didn't get raises for several years. By the way, neither did the administration. The administration did not as well. Anyway, they sat back. They took tougher jobs. As maybe a job next to them was eliminated, as someone left, it was not refilled, so they worked harder. Now times are coming back. We're getting on our economic feet again, and I think it's only fair that we reward these employees with better pay and when we can. And so they are starting to get raises again, and I hope we can continue in the future.